If you're feeling unsatisfied, it's natural to want to transform yourself, to feel the urge to just disappear and start over. In this video, you'll learn how to make the changes you've been longing for without having to destroy the good things in your life. If you're 35 or older, this video is exactly what you need right now. Something inside you knows there's more. You're starting to feel the weight of time, the whisper in your ear that life is short, and the pull to make it mean something deeper. If you're younger than 35, you might not fully feel that yet, but you will sooner than you think. Challenge yourself to stay with me, because when it hits, you'll want to know this. I spent the last decade transforming my own life and helping hundreds of others do the same. You don't need 10 years though. I'll share 3 steps that you can use to change your life in just a few months. Let's talk about the disappearing part of disappearing and transforming yourself. It's a double-edged sword. There's a good disappearing and a bad disappearing. One is based on patience and quiet resolve, and the other you need to watch out for. When you're excited about making big changes, it's natural to want to talk about it. You bring it up with friends and family every chance you get. The more you talk, the more excited you become. But then something strange happens. You have no motivation to actually do it. You don't take the necessary actions to move the changes you want from ideas to reality. You've probably seen this before. People talk endlessly about what they're going to do, but never follow through. Talking gives you the illusion of progress. It feels like forward movement, but it's actually zero movement. It's like eating fast food and thinking you're actually nourishing yourself. It fills your stomach, but destroys your health. The more you feed on the fantasy of transformation, the less you act. The solution is the good kind of disappearing. It's not running away or hiding. It's disappearing in plain sight. Keep your plans and goals to yourself. Share them only with 1 or 2 people, at most, who you trust, people who will hold you accountable. Beyond that, stay quiet. Let your actions do the talking. This will take patience and quiet resolve, especially if you usually share too much about the big life changes you want to make. Talking about your goals releases the tension between where you are and where you want to be. But that relief is not a good thing. That tension is your fuel. Don't waste it by talking it away. Let it build until it drives you to act. Don't relieve it with words, relieve it with execution. I'll address the bad kind of disappearing later in this video. Now let's move on to transformation. My mentor, the late Steve Andreas, taught that real transformation doesn't involve discarding or replacing who you are. Who you are now is fine. You don't need to get rid of any part of yourself. You also don't need to become someone else. When you try to become someone different, you create an internal conflict. One part of you tries hard to change, and the other part of you constantly judges yourself as never good enough, no matter how much you improve. The someone different you're trying to become is not a real destination, so you will always fall short. It's like running a race that has no finish line. Eventually, you give up out of exhaustion, and then blame yourself for being human. Real transformation begins with acceptance of what's already there. Accepting who you are right now. It's an expansion of self, not trying to replace yourself with a different identity. When you truly transform, your identity becomes more inclusive. It can hold more qualities, perspectives, and responses without contradiction, helping your identity grow stronger through struggle and challenge. You begin to see things from more angles and handle them in new ways without feeling like you're fighting yourself. Think of it like renovating your home. You wouldn't bulldoze the entire house just because one room needs work. You would fix what's broken and improve on what's already working. That's real transformation. So where do you start? Step 1, get clear about what you really want. This is the step most people skip, and those who don't still don't give it enough attention. It's the foundation for everything. You can't become what you're not clear about. Most people say they want success or freedom, but those are vague ideas. Freedom to be whom? Success that fulfills you in what way? Some people think they're clear about what they want because they're precise about it, like the exact dollar amount that they want to make next year. But precision isn't clarity about what drives and fulfills you unless it's aligned with your deeper values. You can set goals that sound impressive, but unless they match what truly matters to you, they'll feel pointless even when you reach them. Here's what I tell my clients. Clarity is your compass. When you're not clear, you chase shiny objects that you think you want or that you think will elevate your status. You fall for what society or culture tells you you're supposed to pursue. Without clarity about what will actually fulfill you, such goals look right, but they're empty if you achieve them, and you feel bad about yourself if you don't. I've done this more times than I can count. When I was younger, I started an insurance agency. I thought it would give me stress, debt, and 80-hour work weeks. What it really gave me was freedom, time, and money. No, I wish. It was exactly the opposite. Because I wasn't clear about what I was getting myself into, I was so miserable that I ended up depressed. Had I been clear about what was truly important to me, I would have focused all of that effort and hard work in ways that would have supported both my success and my well-being. If I had stopped to ask myself what I truly valued, not what I should want, I would have chosen differently. That's why this first step matters so much. You can avoid years of frustration by sitting down and asking, what do I want? What's important to me about that? What will having that do for me? Write your answers down. Don't overthink it. Just keep asking questions until the answers stop changing. That's when you found your core values. If you say, I don't know what I want, start with this. I want to know what I want. That's simple. Curiosity is the beginning of clarity. Once you give yourself permission to explore, the answers come faster than you think. Step 2, acknowledge your internal resistance. You will always face resistance. It's not a flaw, it's feedback. Your mind isn't trying to stop you, it's trying to protect you. When you feel stuck, ask the part of you that's objecting, what's your positive intention for resisting this? Often, it's comfort, security, or belonging. But here's the paradox. The more you protect your comfort, the less you tap into your potential. Growth is uncomfortable, but the ultimate discomfort is not growing at all. When I ran my insurance agency, I ignored that resistance for years. That resistance turned out to be wisdom that patiently and consistently warned me that I was trying to be something that I wasn't. Eventually, I started to listen to that wisdom. I realized that I would never be able to shape and mold myself into being a great insurance agent. What a relief that realization was. It wasn't a weakness of mine. It was just a bad fit. I thought I could trade joy and passion by buying my freedom, and it backfired. Resistance also shows up as fear of regret. You might fear making a mistake that you can't undo. But the truth is, most of the time you can undo it. Life is flexible. The fear of regret is almost always worse than the regret itself. As long as you're not risking physical harm to yourself or others, as long as you're not breaking the law and risking going to jail or bankrupting yourself, you can bounce back from pretty much anything else. Even people who have lost entire fortunes more than once completely recover. People like 50 Cent, Nicolas Cage, and Mike Tyson come to mind. So when you face resistance, pause and listen. What's the deeper message? Sometimes your resistance is your wisdom in disguise. If you're still not sure about this one, I'll give you an easy hack later that will make it more clear. Step 3, ask yourself who you need to become. This is where real transformation happens. We tend to think we need to change what we do, our habits, our routines, our goals, but behavior follows identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you align to the level of your identity, who you believe you are. And if your identity says you're not enough, you'll keep proving it right. Maybe it's not that bad, but if what you want is outside the limits of who you believe you are, trying to reach beyond those limits will be an unnecessary and punishing struggle. Think of your identity as a map of who you are. It's much easier to redraw the map to include what you want rather than trying to prove yourself worthy of it first. I've coached people who have everything, money, status, family, but still feel empty. They chased achievement hoping it would fill the void. But success without fulfillment is just more emptiness. Start by asking, who do I need to become to live the life I want? Picture that version of yourself, not as a fantasy, but as a future you're growing into. What does that version of you believe about yourself? When you change what you believe about yourself, your reality changes with you. Identity work is found in deep waters. In order to navigate them, you'll need the right technology or a guide. Neurolinguistic programming, NLP, and more specifically, Steve Andreas' self-concept model, is the most precise and effective approach I use. NLP helps you map the structure of your experience, the patterns that run your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. When you change those patterns, everything else realigns. The self-concept model is a model that shows you how you've mapped your identity so far and how to rewrite the map so that you become the person you value, the you who fulfills your highest potential. If you're interested in learning this, or prefer to be coached and guided through it, check the links in the description of this video. As I mentioned, I will address the bad kind of disappearing that you don't want to do. But before I do that, I also promised you a hack to get around fear of regret. When you're facing a big decision with high stakes and you feel the need to get it right or else, use this. It's a question that has saved me many times. It is, if I were lying on my deathbed, looking back on my life, would I regret doing it or regret not doing it? The answer always clears the fog. Late in life, most people regret more the things they didn't do but wish they had, rather than the things they did do that didn't turn out so well. In other words, it's better to err on the side of making mistakes in pursuit of what you want rather than never pursuing what you want because you fear making mistakes. I used this question when deciding to leave my first marriage. I had 2 kids and reasons to stay, but when I imagined looking back at my life, it was obvious that I would regret staying in a bad situation because I feared the unknown. I saw the truth. It was hard, painful, and messy, but leaving led to a life of deeper love and fulfillment. I wouldn't trade that decision for anything. And now for disappearing. There's a certain thrill in the fantasy of disappearing. In the movies, especially movies made in the 80s, the underdog disappears, trains hard, has a montage to demonstrate this. Then he returns to shock everyone who doubted him. You've probably imagined that too, showing up one day completely changed, people looking at you in awe, barely able to recognize the new you. Sounds romantic, right? But the problem with this is you're still bound by what others think of you. If you're making choices based on that, I can assure you they're not the right choices. Even if they are the right choices, they're the right choices for the wrong reason. You're trying to fill a void that cannot be filled. There's no amount of impressing people or getting them to like you that will ever make you feel like you're enough. Start with a knowing that you are always enough and you don't need to impress people. You don't have to vanish to transform. You can change right where you are with everyone watching, because the truth is, people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. Most are too busy wrestling with their own self-doubts. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Trying to do so is just a waste of your time and effort, and it will never fulfill you. People will think what they're going to think, regardless of what you do. So you might as well do what fulfills you and create the life you want, no matter what others think. Get busy living your life so well that you don't have time or attention to concern yourself with impressing others. And if you want to see how I lived this out, watch the vlog I filmed in Japan. It's a 10-year story of how I went from broke and uncertain to living a life built on purpose. You'll see that transformation doesn't come from disappearing. It comes from finally coming home to yourself.